Hello Aquarius, welcome to your August reading. I'd like to apologise for not having a July reading for you. Things have been quite busy on my side and I had to give myself a little space to get back into the swing of things. So I'd like to dive straight into your August reading. Here we go. You'll find that the parts where I shuffle are speeded up. Okay, Aquarius, we've got some good looking cards here. A lot of kind of processing and movement, it seems. The Two of Pentacles here brings an awareness of things that you've been juggling, things that you have been trying to balance out, and it's definitely on a creative level. It seems that you're perhaps in the process of leaving something behind and bringing in something new. It's either that or you're trying to get a balance in terms of your spiritual growth. You seem to want to get some equality here in your kind of emotional, spiritual self and the responsibilities and kind of work life potentially. Then we have the Nine of Swords, which shows that there's been quite a lot of overthinking, which air signs are quite prone to. But in that overthinking, it actually kind of brings you to a conclusion. That we have the 9 here, which is the end of a cycle. And so although there might have been sleepless nights and there might have been times where you felt kind of stuck and locked in, it does indicate that this kind of period of confusion and this obstacle is coming to an end. You have kind of one of the birds freeing itself here, and it feels as though the energy is changing. It feels as though you're kind of at the darkest point before the dawn. We also have the Death and Rebirth card, which again indicates the close of a cycle. So something here in your foundation is shifting, and it's to do with your emotional, spiritual self and your practical and kind of responsibilities, family, work, etc., your foundation, and perhaps your spiritual creativity. So let's get some clarity cards for these three. One moment. Okay, Aquarius, what we have is the Queen of Cups, the Strength, and the Hanged Man. Now, the Queen of Cups is a lady who has kind of been through the mill in terms of her emotional growth. She's reached a level where she's able to be much more discerning in what she gives out. She's wiser, having gone through the painful lessons here. She has an awful lot to give. There's abundance here, but she's looking at her cup, and if you see, it's covered, which means that she's a lot more careful in how she gives out that very special energy. That over the Two of Pentacles again talks about balance, talks about being quite in tune with what your needs are. And then we have the Strength card over the Nine of Swords. The Strength indicates a higher will. It indicates your higher self over your base nature. Now, that base nature, it can be, sort of negative things like greed and addiction and things like that. But the higher nature, but it can also mean ego in some way. And although we might be quite a giving person, sometimes that's to do with the reaction and the energy that we get back from that, feeling good about ourselves, and we can be perhaps addicted to that cycle, and so we unbalance ourselves giving out, and then we get to a point where we're frustrated with not having balance within ourselves. So hence the Queen learns the lesson to be more discerning in where she places that energy. So the Strength card is about being kind of a bit more of the tactician, understanding not to sow seed on fallow ground, if you like, to use her understanding and her wisdom and her experience to rise above those basic needs, those perhaps learned behaviors that we sometimes have. We never always, initially we never question, we just imitate. So perhaps this strength is rising above your sort of base nature, the habitual things that we do, to understanding self, to understanding the whys and the wherefores, and understanding how to overcome. And this is the process, I think, that you've been going through, is understanding why you do things, how they serve you, how they serve others, and kind of working out what is best for you in the long term here. the maiden overcomes the beast with her inner will. And I think that's where we're going here. You're using this higher energy, this intuition, this inner guidance to rise above the patterns that perhaps have been holding you back here. And then over the death or rebirth, we have the Hanged Man. Now the Hanged Man is interesting because although we may feel stuck and we may feel blocked in some way, the Hanged Man gives us a different perspective. He enables us to see things from a different vantage point, and he allows us to process. Sometimes we're too much in a rush to move forward through life and be doers, and sometimes we need to be just as we are. We just need to be. And this kind of pause that the universe may have you on currently in between this change of cycle will allow you to get a perspective that will enlighten you, will inform how you move forward. I'm going to pull an advice card now for you. Okay, Aquarius, what I've got is isolation, but I also have completion that fell out at the same time. And there's a vein of energy running through both of these. The isolation card speaks about feeling kind of locked away from our true selves, or locked away from people we care about, or from the life that we'd like to lead. But within this figure, within this face who's been kind of crystallized in this ice, if you like, there are rainbows within those tears. And as you may know, rainbows indicate hope. And so what this says to me is you're breaking out of a way of being. You're beginning to understand how perhaps you limit what comes towards you, your blessings. You may have a protective wall up against being let down, and it's time for that shell to break away and to allow you to experience all the joy that you need to experience. The completion card, just to touch on that, is kind of the last piece of the puzzle, obviously. And you see where the puzzle piece is being placed over the third eye. So this indicates the intuition is at play here. This shows that there has been some growth and some understanding of all the things that you've been through. I'm also going to draw an outcome card for you for August. So we have the Ten of Pentacles, which is quite interesting for me as it's completion. We have the Death and Rebirth card here indicating there is a brand new cycle, and the 10 is at kind of the end of a cycle, just rewards. The Ten of Pentacles shows the Kabbalah, the tree of life, the rising from the base natures into the more divine natures, and it also shows kind of joy and foundation and abundance. So this is about setting down, not just within, but also in reality, some sort of foundation and abundance for you and your family. And it's going to play out from the inside out. I feel as though the growth that you're going through August will kind of crystallize with these kinds of results. You'll begin to see how the work you've been doing brings about this foundation, this legacy for you and your family. So I'll leave your reading there, Aquarius, and I hope that resonates with you. Please leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time.